Hello, and thank you for joining me on this next episode of Ride Through Commentary. Once again, I am joined by my friend Steve. Hello, Steve.
How's it going?
It's going. Let me.
Who's that?
What? What did you say?
Is it who's that?
Oh, who's that? I was like, what? I don't know. What's that?
Yeah.
It's like we're building some. Looks like we're building the same thing.
I think so.
Well, it's going to be anyway.
Yeah.
Looks like that thing that's on your shelf.
Yeah, it's you building something similar to what I built. Or I built something similar to what you built. That's what it is.
Yeah. So, why don't you talk about your ride-through videos that you do? Because hopefully it'll tie into this one. And
yeah, and I need to make a new one. So
yeah,
I haven't made one in a while. So I do these like ride-through videos where I call it "Where Are We?" And it's basically where I have a above view map of the ride. And so on one side is the actual ride through, on the other side is the above view, top view of the ride, and like a map of the track where you're at and stuff. And it started with Pirates of the Caribbean, always wondering, you know, where are we in relation to and the building and stuff like that. So I wanted to kind of show where you were at, because like when you're doing the first drop in Pirates and you turn, you're actually under like the Blue Bayou and
right.
and stuff like that. And then in the cave, you go under the Disneyland Railroad, and then you enter the show building. So it was just something interesting, I thought. So I decided to make videos on it. So I have that Pirates, I have Haunted Mansion, Alice in Wonderland, and do I have any more? I don't know. I don't remember. I do want to make Splash Mountain.
Yeah.
I've been saying that for like 6 months now. But I like your idea too with this, what we're doing next.
Hopefully with this one.
Hopefully it works. Yeah.
Yeah. So what I hopefully want to do on this video, and by the way, we will be doing a ride through of Matterhorn. So I want to take your idea, at least for this video, and you can steal my idea later. But I want to use the 3D Google Maps and kind of show the Matterhorn mountain rotating as we go and turning, and then show the kind of topical map, the same thing that you do.
Right.
Like an overlay on the mountain. So it's kind of 3D up and down and turning. If you don't see that, then that didn't work out, man. This is a regular ride-through video. But that is cool. The plan. So hopefully that'll be pretty cool if it does work out.
Okay.
Obviously, this whole thing would have to be a different kind of format for that to be, besides our normal framed kind of thing. But
right.
I'll make a different thing for that if it works out. So, so we do have another guest tonight.
Yeah, we do.
He was just featured on our podcast, our second episode, and we asked him if he wanted to come along on do one of these videos with us, and he agreed.
Yeah, be fun.
He doesn't know what he's in for.
Yeah.
But yes, we have Marco.
Hey, Marco.
Hi, everyone.
Of course, Marco has the Pizza Planet truck. You want to give it just a tiny little bit about the truck and how you take it places and stuff?
Yeah, it's just a fun little project my friends and I have been working on for over a decade now, which is really fun to say. And we've just been going to events, big and small, actual Disney events, and just fun fan events and conventions and stuff. And that's how I met you at the little off-market mouse.
Yep.
That was fun. So, yeah.
Cool. All right. So, like I said, we're going to be doing the monorail. So we're just going to...
Monorail?
Or monorail? Did I say monorail? Matterhorn. They start with an M. Shut up. We're going to be doing the Matterhorn. The bobsleds, who was made by a guy named Bob. Just coincidence? I think not. All right, so let's get started.
I should have gotten a turkey leg. Give me in the headspace for this. Do you guys have a preferred side? Which side are we going on? This is
actually, we're going to do both.
Oh, okay.
One after the other.
I think I've been on
the left.
I don't know if I have a preferred side, but I think I've been on the right side more.
I have a preferred side of none because this ride hurts my back and I can't ride it anymore.
It hurts everyone's back. I call it the old backbreaker.
Yeah.
Like this and oddly enough, Ghost Rider are on the same level of repositioning the spine.
Yeah.
For me.
Well, Space Mountain does it to me too.
of all rides that twist my back is Toy Story Mania.
Really?
Yeah.
Fresh baked.
Oh god.
For some reason, when that car spins and turns, that's when my back goes out.
I guess it's in an attempt to not be sharp, it's really swinging on a wide arm and it picks up some momentum.
He gets front row.
Nice.
Again, always getting the front row.
I do miss the old cars. And I know that they've been made for awkward situations for rider and person who became the seat, but it just was, you could brace yourself better, I think.
Yeah.
You could kind of like...
That's not good.
Don't they always stop there?
Yeah. There's always like a pre-stop.
Yeah.
It's like an odd anticipatory one.
This is the same video I use in the podcast opening, by the way.
Nice.
So I know he stops here too.
It looks like it was drizzling that day.
Yeah. I'll be designed.
I
Wasn't
cannot
this the day they
imagine
reopened
what
it?
it must be like working this attraction with that background loop all day. Like, I love a good polka. I love a good...
Yeah.
The enhancements that they did on this, I think, are good, but it just turns it into this, like, thrill ride thing. And I'm like, I just liked it. Like, it almost is too scary now.
Yeah.
I mean, just it's good and bad, I guess,
Yeah.
Updating the Yeti was kind of necessary, I guess, but
Yeah.
this little scene here is kind of cool.
I think it's neat. I think it's just... I think it's so sad that they have the Frank G. Wells expedition, and it's like, ooh, that, like, I appreciate that they have... Ooh, nice.
Yeah.
Well, it could have made it a helicopter crash, and that would have been worse.
That's the thing, but I find it so funny that it's like, oh, here's the tribute to that is just this, like, box,
it's a
this
crash,
broken box.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, man. This is the one that gets... Oh, no, it's... Yeah, that always gets me. That little S curve. That's the one that, if I need to reposition my spine.
I think it repositions it for you.
Yeah.
So this is the chiropractor, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
But man, this turn is great because you get ripping through this turn sometimes if you catch it on a good day, and you're just like...
What I most like about this ride is going in and out, though.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the views you get. Like, you don't have that in any other ride, really.
Yeah.
Yeah. Going in and out of the tunnels and.
Yeah. Like, even on that Tron, like, you start outside and then go in, but, you know, it's one time, but this is a constant thing. It's kind of cool.
And it's neat because there's really you're just kind of going at one speed the whole time. Like, yeah, you pick up, there's points where like you kind of slow down for a second, but you're always, there's no
those
pauses.
tires will speed you up or slow you down, like right here.
Yeah.
Yeah, it helps maintain so that it's not getting too close to the next card or whatever.
So this is the Fantasyland side, right? They call it.
Yeah. Yep. And the other side's Tomorrowland.
Get back in line.
For your safety, remain seated with your seatbelt fastened, keeping your hands, arms, feet, and legs inside the bobsled.
That's
And be sure to
when did they paint that speaker a different color?
Yeah.
Kind of stands out.
Yeah.
They did a good job though. Just the whole concrete work on there.
Yeah, it looks like you are in a mountain, I guess.
In a mountain with like
a cave.
caves and snow and ice right there. I mean, that doesn't look so much icy, but looks glass, I guess. But,
Well, just like the low end frequency that like booms through that hallway is just, you know, they're really blowing out those speakers. It's just,
right.
This is the smoother side, right? Supposedly.
I think that's what they say. I mean, just by the fact that this video is all choppy, and I know he has like a steady cam on there, so
Yeah.
that says it all.
This reminds me of how, like, right before, like, this giant wave of Disney parks content and stuff, when I started working there, I hit up my cousin once, and we were going to try sneaking in what was then tough to sneak in, a 4K camera.
Yeah.
And we were going to try to, like, make it look like a DSLR. We were trying to get a red cinema camera and just do, like, a ride-through on just a random ride. And now it's like, oh, that's easy to do now. You got these little 4Ks.
Well, Crystal, I mean, his camera's, like a regular DSLR camera.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, he's taking it and holding it on a stick the whole time and probably interrupting everybody.
I don't think he has a stick. He holds it with his hand.
But he's, like, holding it like a bug.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, gotcha. There's that.
But I imagine people behind him, looking around him or whatever, so.
Yeah.
But I don't think anybody's actually complaining about it either. So
I will say that as foreboding as that water pond always looks when you're about to head into it, I rarely, if ever, get splashed by it.
Yeah.
Like it's like a fine
Or
mist.
you ever get wet or anything.
Yeah.
It's just kind of spreads out. So
It's really more for show, which is great.
Yeah.
I think that's neat.
I mean, that's kind of even like on Big Thunder when you go by the dinosaur, it's just sprays out,
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he's got a water spot on his camera though.
Yeah, a couple of them.
Couple of them. Well, there you go.
Yeah.
What they should do is have the line kind of, or the queue kind of themed, kind of like Expedition Everest.
Yeah, like have some stories of like lost bobsledders.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Actually, that would kind of tie into that wreckage too.
Yeah.
But
Right.
yeah, I mean,
That's
I
the
don't
thing is
think they
like,
put too much planning into the queues back then.
well, like now, like I would say, like what attraction would you say has like the least? I don't want to say least story because they all have stories, but like I feel like there are some where it's like, yep, it's a bobsled ride. Like there's a Yeti and there's and even before, like the Yeti didn't come in until what the mid '80s.
That's a good point there.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know the exact year. Yeah, that's a good thing we should have looked up ahead of time.
It's all good.
Oh, you can look it up now.
You can look it up too.
Oh,
See
yeah,
how
I
quick
can.
my
I
little
forgot.
keyboard fingers can go.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, for a e-ticket ride, which this was an e-ticket ride back in, I guess it's still considered an e-ticket ride.
Mm-hmm.
There wasn't much theming on the outside, and you have the show building. In fact, they have kind of the same kind of prayer flags that we were talking about earlier, Steve. They have them in the
Oh, yeah.
in the queue. I don't know if they're the same thing. I imagine they probably are, but
It says in 1978.
78, so almost 80s.
Yeah.
I mean, that's still. I mean, when did it actually open? It's got to be.
It's pretty 59. It was
59.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's almost 20 years.
I was looking through some pictures here of it where it just I miss the buckets. I miss the buckets going through it.
Yeah.
Oh,
Made
yeah.
it a Swiss mountain, a Swiss cheese mountain. But looking through that, it's just funny. Like the theming of it, because I think it came out after the Third Man on the Mountain.
I mean, he got the concept from them going on vacation. So
Yeah.
But yeah, I would imagine it was built afterwards.
The movie came out so they both happened in 59, which is interesting, which is probably like the closest they could have to a tie-in of it. But it's like, it's just nice knowing that there were some attractions that's just like, we're just making something fun. Like Haunted Mansion, Pirates. Like it was just,
No,
Yeah, I mean, go ahead. What did you say, Steve?
Oh, I said no IP.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like the big thing right now is there's no creativity. Like everybody's just IP here. And, even in the movies, like how many remakes have we had in the last few years?
Yeah.
Like,
I think what's tough with a lot of like things where when Disney is waiting for something to become popular so they can then be justified in making an attraction or theming it around that. I just feel like it was the other way around before, where it was this thing became popular because of the attraction. Right. But maybe that's not how it worked out. I don't know. That's just from my kid mind, because I was like, oh, definitely
the way it worked with Walt. Walt was always taking chances on things.
Yeah, it's just like, because I mean, I am glad that they, like, just to switch from one mountain to another. I'm glad that they are retheming Splash Mountain to be Princess and the Frog, because it's like, yeah, it fits nicely. I think it works out okay. And I think, like, is it going to have a new story? Is it just going to, reuse elements from the movies? How I'm excited to see how they do that. And I just feel like there's going to be just a lot of like, the joke that my friend and I always have when we talk about anything new coming to the parks is we like to keep a mental note of who is like the biggest detractor before something opens, and then as soon as it opens, who immediately loves the thing that they've been like dreading for like a year. And there's some that are like clockwork. It's very funny to us.
Well, I was gonna say that's exactly Guardians of the Galaxy when it was Tower of Terror. Everybody hated it. Oh, it looks so ugly, and now everybody loves it.
It's my favorite attraction. And I'm like, not everything can be your favorite, guys. Like I'm all for like having an open mind on new stuff, but like, gosh, like, whew, here are the receipts.
I was just watching this video. I'm not going to name the YouTuber because it's kind of a gimmick thing, but he was talking about this is funny too. It's kind of along the same lines that Bob Chapek was actually taking the company away from the woke stuff and away from doing IP stuff, and that the firing of him and bringing back Iger just cemented everything back to being IP. And like he was making it out that Bob Chapek was actually going to be the savior of Disney, and I was like,
that's a
thinking.
I'll have what he's having if I don't know what he's on.
Maybe for the company, Bob Chapek might have been better, but for the parks, Not really.
Yeah,
He wasn't fixing anything, and he wasn't spending money, so he
Yeah.
just wanted money, money, money.
Yeah.
Although we're still in that era, and you can say, if Chapek was the bad guy, why are things not changed yet? But
I think there's only been a couple publications that I found where it's like Iger picked Chapek.
yeah,
And anybody, like, that's the ultimate, like, and like I get it, business, that's how business goes and stuff like that at that level. But I just find it funny, like, this is the media machine at work where the publications are like, oh, well, Iger didn't fully trust him in this. And it's like, well, why'd you pick him? Why'd you go, oh, yeah. Like, did you not think this information was going to come out? Did you not think that the person you picked was going to be as, like, you picked him for a reason. You thought he was going to run it a certain way, and when he did, you're like, oh no, that's not what I meant.
Yeah.
Like, what do you mean? You gave him the reins. And so everybody talking about how, like, oh, there's a coup and this, and it's like they talk about how, like, Iger never left the studios and had a weird remote office. I'm like,
yeah.
Then don't make it sound like, oh, you thought this was going to happen. You set up the dominoes to fall a certain way.
Well, yeah.
So,
there's also people who say that it was just all set up anyway. That Iger was still actually in control, and Chapek was just like, here, you're just going to be the fall guy, and we're just going to pay you money, and you can just, be on your merry way.
I mean,
but the dude's been with the company for a while, so I don't believe that.
I mean, they paid him, what, $22 million?
Yeah.
$22 million for a bad job.
I'll be your fall guy.
Exactly.
But there's also, Iger's picked his next succession CEO, which is, I guess, the guy from Nike.
Oh, I haven't heard that one.
Yeah, well, that's what they're saying. And I guess he's pretty similar to Iger. So what they are saying is that the Iger had his contract extended for 2 years because, funny enough, he's always talking about Ron DeSantis doing his thing because he wants to run for president. But everybody says that Iger wants to run for president. So,
well, I mean, all he has to do to get my vote is to pay me a living wage, and then I'll vote for him.
Give me my magic key and I'll vote for you.
Yeah, exactly. Everybody in the country gets an annual pass and reservations are gone.
You get done.
Yeah.
I feel like when, like, I'm getting off the rails here again. Sorry.
No, you're
I
fine.
just feel like the company worked its best, and I know that, like, maybe this isn't. I mean, haven't done enough business theory or any business class and stuff like that to know if this is actually a business model that works. But the way that the studio ran before, where you had the numbers guy, you had Roy, who was there to make sure that everything was getting paid for, and then you had Walt, who would head up the creative side. And, like, I understand that, like, at the end of the day, like, they were both very savvy businessmen, but they understood, like, okay, we're going to take this risk. We'll pay for it out of our pocket, but we'll also, if this is successful, we're going to reap the benefits to continue to make new things. Because I know that Imagineering still is producing, like, patents and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But, and I don't know if it's just how they marketed it back then, but I just feel like there's a whole market for this. There's so many other companies
now. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But what you're saying is exactly right. And to bring that up, in between now and Walt, you had Eisner. And speaking of
Wells
was the money man, and Iger had ideas. And same thing, Walt had an idea, Roy figured out how to do it. Eisner had an idea, Wells figured out how to do it. So I think you're on a cue. If we had that kind of situation right now where the CEO is not just all about the money, it's some other. See, I mean, and there's obviously a CFO or whatever in the company, but you never hear him. He's not talking,
Yeah, it's funny too, because, like, even, like, now I feel like we're more aware of Roy than probably people at the time were during like, the Disneyland television Wonderful World of Disney days. And so it's like, you need someone who wants to be in the spotlight, and you need someone who wants to kind of sit back but will step into the spotlight if needed. And I feel like the fact that, like, the board is always kind of shifting around. And like, is a company successful if you happen to know the names of everybody on the board? Maybe not, but just there's something about it, because a lot of people have said like, oh yeah, Iger's kind of 2-in-1, and I'm like, it's like dinner and a show. The show isn't that great, and neither is dinner, but they're both adequate. So like, you need to have, you need to play that up. Like, yeah, they're not going to be equal. They're going to be kind of like reigning, the creative will be pushing the financial a little bit more, and the financial will reign in the creative if it's too much. It's just checks and balances. And then, as someone who's never run a corporation, I think that seems to be the best way to do it.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's funny too, because Iger was saying, I'm going to separate this and this, and then like Josh tomorrow, you handle this, you tell me what you want to do. But he's still not saying anything either.
Yeah.
Not really. I mean, there's a couple things, but we're not really hearing much of anything. Like, okay, there's a theme park expansion in Disney World, but
yeah, there I forgot which one. There was one of the keynotes they did.
Well, yeah,
they're like, yeah, there's going to be something.
The Villains Land and all that, but that's like way, way, way blue sky. Not even happen. But if it does, then there's something in the works. But it's just like, if you're gonna say, let me know what you want to do, let us all in on it.
Yeah.
Because I haven't heard anything. They keep talking about Disney World will be more relaxed on reservations and stuff, but what about us?
Yeah,
we can't even get a key. Makes no sense. I don't want to talk about this every time, but we keep talking about it, how they want money, and I'm here. Here's my money. Give me a key, and I can't get it. So what? I don't know. I don't understand it.
Yeah. Like, I just bought a Universal pass just to go someplace.
And that's exactly it. They're forcing everybody to go to Universal because we can't go to Disney. It doesn't. Even if we have a key, we can't go to Disney. It just,
unless you have a reservation.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that
if you don't cancel your reservation, you get punished.
Right. We had our friend go through that.
Yeah.
He had a death in the family, and they were like, well, I still would have came to Disney. I would have skipped the funeral. That's what they told him. He's like, no. Yeah. They eventually corrected it, though, but still.
Gosh. Yeah.
Anyway,
speaking of keys.
Yes.
Yeah. There's something in the Matterhorn
that has
the top.
A key?
Yeah. A basketball hoop and a key.
Let's talk a little bit about what is the stuff the cast members see and that we don't get to see.
So I've only been inside once, and it was for like a brief tour, just kind of as like a prize that we did internally. And it was very quick, but looking back, like, I was able to take a few photos that cannot be posted, but thankfully the internet has provided, and we have some photos of things. It's very bare. It's very bare bones up there, as you can see. From what I can tell you, that won't get me in trouble, is that this is basically what the mountain looks like on the inside. It's it's a paper mache diorama that happens to be held up by steel girders. And the basketball court is pretty much, it's a hoop hung from one of those girders. I was like, what's funny was when you shoot a basket in there, I'm like very like not the best at shooting basketball, but I'm also like timid about it because I'm like, I don't want, you hit the rim and it bounces. You think about the carnival games, it bounces off into space and stuff like that. Right. So my friend was able to sink one pretty quickly when he went up there. And there's, let's see, from what I remember when we were up there, it's kind of just like a break area almost. Like, it's just kind of a fun thing. It's where they launch Tinkerbell off when she flies around the park and stuff. And that is truly where I'd like to go. There's a clip, I should have prepped it, but I'll send you the link, where I always laugh because there's this clip that went around when I think it's when they celebrated the 40th anniversary of Disneyland, and it was all Indiana Jones. It was when Indiana Jones reopened, and they had Indiana Jones zip line out of there. And you in this clip, you see why they don't utilize that during the day, because it's very slow how slow he goes down that zip line. And it's like they should have this shot of him like zoomed in, and it's like going real fast. And they zoom out, and the castle is just real quietly going on. When people ask, they go, what do you want to do on your last day? People are like, oh, I want to ride in a parade float. Oh, I want to do this. And I'm like, I want to zip line from the Matterhorn.
Yeah.
Just
Look
wanna
at Bob
point
Gurr. He's having so much fun there.
I just want to point out that this is Bob Gurr.
Yeah.
I believe
With
this
his
is taken
famous
from
red
the
shoes.
his famous red shoes.
Yeah.
I believe this is taken from that special that was on Disney Plus.
Oh, yeah, that was on.
yeah.
Yeah, I saw that. I remember I was at the Carrollwood Barn, and his tour bus came out, and we all said hi to him and stuff. And he's like, "Hey, look, my shoes match my bus." And because his bus was red and his shoes were red. It was really
I
funny.
gotta get back out to Carrollwood. I haven't been there in a while. I haven't been there since.
That's a cool place. It's really neat.
I went there like probably 3-4 years ago, and just I think what's so interesting about like those kind of artifacts is it's just like it's in the hands of like nonprofits, and I think it's cool that they're taking care of it, because the company sure wouldn't.
Yeah.
It says a lot about them buying your truck and giving it away.
No, I don't. That's the thing too. Is I'm like we're inching closer to that inevitability of like what are we going to do with it? And I'm still like, even after last episode, I'm like, there's some things that have come up, and I'm just like, all right, we'll see how that goes. But I'm hoping we'll have good news soon. I'm hoping by the end of this month we'll have a better sense of what's happening next with that.
Cool.
We'll just make sure everybody will follow you and they'll stay updated.
Yeah.
Right.
So let's get back to the monorail. I said it again. I will say it like this because it sounds better, but the Matterhorn.
Well,
the monorail goes right by it, okay?
Which one would be tougher to transpose onto the other? It would be more exciting to put a Matterhorn bobsled on a monorail track than it would be to put a monorail into the Matterhorn. Going through.
That would be kind of cool.
That'd be terrible. The bobsled would be fun. That would be interesting to go like 35 miles an hour.
Yeah.
I always wanted to ride one of those maintenance vehicles.
Oh, yeah. Those look so fun.
Because they're just like standing on it like it's like nothing.
Surfing on there.
So we were talking about what's your favorite side, and I don't know if we all answered, but I said I don't have a side because it hurts my back and all that. But what's your favorite like aspect of it, like design wise, or what's your favorite part of it?
I guess like the environmental like designs to it, in that like even on a hot day, even when you're going up inside, you get a little bit of that air conditioning that is within that space. And, the foley of the snow blowing by, you're like, oh, it feels cold here. And then you get outside, you're like, nope, it's 90 degrees. All right, here we go. I think like those little touches are neat because like at the end of the day, it's a roller coaster in a mountain. And to make it feel like you've gone someplace else. Yeah. Obviously, like you talked about how like Expedition Everest, kind of built on the back of this. And that coaster, I still don't understand how it transports me someplace else. Because, like, it's 100, 90 degrees, 90% humidity. But I do feel like I'm not in Florida anymore.
Yeah. The theming is really good over there with that.
Yeah. I was going to say, like, my favorite part of the Matterhorn being there is that the fact that it's a Matterhorn covered in snow and whatever, just right in the smack of Disney. Like, it's it's so out of place, but it fits in. It's like weird. I don't know.
When you're on the freeway driving by.
Yeah, so that's how it was when I was a little kid, driving down to 5, because my cousin lived in Santa Ana, and I lived in Lakewood, and we would drive when I was a little kid, and as soon as I see that Matterhorn, I knew what was there. It's Disneyland's there, and I would just get excited just seeing the Matterhorn. It's like iconic.
They call it a weenie. It's the thing that stands out, and Same thing as like on the 91. Growing up in California and driving by all the time, you would see the parachutes from Knott's, the big K.
Oh yeah. The
Yeah.
parachute
Like, you still
jump,
see that, and then it's like every time we drive by it, we'd be like, "Oh, we're not going."
Yeah. Yep.
Geez, shaking my whole desk.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's just kind of cool that we just have this giant mountain in the smack of little walkways,
Yeah.
and the way
And
that
that's-
everything is so enclosed inside it, like Disneyland, so close together.
That's what I missed when I watched Chris's walkthrough of Disney World, and right next to the castle, there's nothing.
Yeah.
Well, at Disneyland, you got that big old mountain right next to the castle.
Mm-hmm.
And pretty much almost everywhere you are in Disneyland, you can almost see the Matterhorn.
And like
Yeah,
in
except
spite
for, like-
of
Except for the one tree that covers it.
Yeah, that one tree.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like
I mean,
with
that's kind of like that's the theme for whole Disneyland. It's so close knit, it feels more comfortable because you're surrounded, whereas at Disneyland or Disney World, everything's just so expanded that you kind of feel like I can walk over here and just no one's even going to bump into me. You can't do that at Disneyland. You're running into everybody constantly, but in a good way, because like there's like so many other people there, and it's not even close to how many people go to Disney World. But you feel closer to everybody, I guess.
Yeah.
I think it's neat that the mountain kind of works from almost every land, like Fantasyland. Sure, it's in Fantasyland. Like,
Yeah.
maybe a snow-peaked mountain in the Wild West doesn't make sense, but it's funny because like the Matterhorn is still there, and like with as much scrutiny that occurs from bloggers and the like, it's just funny where it's like sight lines and this, and like everyone's losing their mind about like a single office building in Super Mario World, Super Nintendo World, and it's like
right.
you have this mountain that can be seen from every single land. But why is the mountain not an issue, but the collector's tower is, and it's just funny, like this is newer, they should build it with like this was grandfathered in from the 60s, from the late 50s in its lack of theming, and it's just like,
well, I mean, even the first Tomorrowland had the rocket, which was the first weenie, like that could be seen from other lands. Like nobody cared back then. So
my friends and I joke about how the same group of people that laments that the parks will never get back to how it was in the 60s are the same people that would prevent things from happening the way it did in the 60s. Like, do you truly think that the Haunted Mansion could have stayed unoccupied and unopened for 6 years without people losing their minds? Like, that building was just there, and it's just like you read about that and you're like, they just had it there, just sitting there, and then they just put up a sign one day. Like, that's so great. I would, like today it would have leaked, years ago. Oh, this is what's coming. The Haunted Mansion's coming in 6 years. What? Why is it taking 6 years? What do you mean?
Well, it does take 6 years to build stuff now. Just from all the regulations and whatnot. But it still boggles my mind that Disneyland was built in a year. And you can't even build a single office building, not even a house, really. It's just weird. And like the things they were doing weren't even like, it was based on movie sets. Like maybe that's why it was so fast. But you built actual buildings the way you built movie sets, but just a little stronger, I guess.
That's the thing, is it's like with like movie sets, and just like, sorry to bring it back to Universal, but like, when you go around there and I'm just like, they're like, oh, this set's been around. I'm like, man, that set's been there for like 30 years. I don't think it's meant to be. It's styrofoam and wood, and it's held together by like moisture at this point more than anything. The fumes from the glue are holding it together, not the glue itself.
Right. Yeah, I mean, today they don't build them like that, and if they do, it's on a sound stage somewhere.
So, or just a green screen.
Yeah,
for better or for worse. There's some, convincing ones.
Well, anything else to add, guys?
Miss the buckets. I think that was neat.
Yeah. We talked
That,
about
that was always so cool going through the Matterhorn on those sky buckets and hearing the screaming and
yeah, you couldn't see who was screaming. You just heard.
no,
screaming
you just heard it. Yeah.
But I think it was like a neat like visual gateway to go from like Fantasyland, and then you pop out in Tomorrowland. That was like there's just little moments like that just you can kind of get it a little bit on the railroad. You can kind of get it a little bit in certain like on the monorail, but it's just there's something different, and I can't even put my finger on what it is. I can just state that like it's not the same.
When you're on the sky buckets and you look down, you're like, oh, I want to go on that ride, or I want to go on that ride, and it's kind of like the People Mover was, when there's Autopia, I want to go on there, and so that's like what Jason and I talked about all the time is the lack of kinetic motion there is in Tomorrowland, and and also it's safe from walking.
Gave you a little bit of rest. Now the really only resting places are like Disneyland Railroad. Great moments with Mr. Lincoln.
Yep. Yeah.
You fall asleep and 9 minutes in, a cannonball wakes you up. Nothing makes you feel more patriotic than being woken up by a cannon.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's what monorail. A lot of people go on that just to relax too. Same as People Mover when I was there. I mean, I think the kinetic energy is still kind of there. It's just moved now because the Astro Orbiter or whatever rocket rods is over in the front now instead of being on top. And you used to be able to see stuff from there. And obviously we don't have the People Mover to go through stuff. But I mean, monorail still kind of gives a little bit of the vibes. You just you only really see Autopia because the boats are gone, and there is no more People Mover. So it's like there, but it's like half missing. It kind of is a ghost because you see those empty tracks.
Yeah.
Yep.
I went to Disney World.
Sad kinetic energy.
February, I think, was when I was in Disney World last, and it was like my friend and I rode Tomorrowland Transit Authority like 3-4 times because it was just like, what do you want to ride? And I'm like, let's just walk onto this and sit for 10 minutes. This is fun. Like, and it's I think that it's pretty low maintenance. It's what maglev at this point. Like it's so they should bring it back, but if there was ever a time, if only there was like a time in which like the parks were closed for like I don't know, a year. If only there was a time where they could have worked on it.
Yeah, but then we didn't have money.
Yeah, didn't have money. Only there was a way to get money. Streaming. That's it.
It's funny too because I mean, now we're never bringing this up. Knott's had, Taste of Calico or whatever.
The one that we went to.
Oh yeah,
Taste of Knott's, Taste of Calico. Yeah. So I mean, they did that like how many different times throughout the year, and then Disney's like, oh, we can do that, and they did it once, like towards the end. You could have been making all kinds of money. Yeah. Dave at Fresh Bake Famously said, like, I will pay to come into Disney and just walk around. Like you don't have to have anybody there. No rides open. Like I just want to get in there.
Just to walk. Yeah.
They should have just paid guests to come in and clean it up. Come in, you can see.
Just open the restaurants or just whatever. I mean, I don't know.
The corn dog stand.
Yeah. I mean,
Red Wagon.
You did the touch of Disney. You could have just done that on Disneyland side the whole time. Whatever, have different booths or whatever.
They should have done
sense to
mobile
do at
orders.
DCA because they already had wine tasting booths or whatever, food and wine. But those roll around, so you can put those wherever you want. Even they could have just done it on the promenade,
Mm-hmm. We joked that they should have offered like, oh, can I get a Disney corn dog on Uber Eats? Or they could have teamed up with a minivan. Like, it's interesting seeing like what wasn't like worked on and like what could have been.
Yeah.
So But yeah, no, like chatting about the Matterhorn, that was fun.
Yeah. I miss it.
Yeah.
All right. I think we'll call this one.
Okay.
It was a pretty good video. Good conversations. That's what this is all about.
Yep. Thanks for
I
joining
do.
us, Marco.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We always enjoy your company and appreciate you coming on.
I hope I can provide at least some fun insight.
Yeah. So, how was this for you? Pretty good thing to do?
Yeah. I'm trying to think of like, I have way too many stories about things, so I always get off the rails. I'm just like,
No, that's what this is
No,
about.
that's good. That's good.
Opened up the conversation, different points of view in different areas.
I'll drop a joke that I was going to drop in the show, but I'm like, no, I don't want the wrong people to hear this. The thing I was going to say about the Matterhorn that I always,
No,
we'll cut it here.
We'll cut it or we won't. I don't know.
Yeah, no, the joke I always used to make about the Matterhorn is I go, this is the ride, this is the date ride. Everyone was always like, oh yeah, you go on Haunted Mansion. I'm like, no, don't go on Haunted Mansion. You take them on the Matterhorn, and if they want to sit in the same car with you, then you take them on Haunted Mansion.
You could say that for. I mean, I'm guessing because you're thinking of the vehicle and how you can do that on Splash Mountain too.
Right? Yeah. I once, I think
you get wet. No, just kidding.
One time we did it with on the Astro Orbiter, and that one's way too cramped.
Yeah. It's small space there.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. Let's cut back because I wanted to say I was asking you how you felt this was. I was to say, so we want to have one of our guests come on and do this with us. And the way that this is going to work is you need to subscribe. And if we get to, this is a newer kind of channel for us. If you get to 300 subscribers by the end of July, I think that's what I said. July, yeah.
I think so, yeah.
Then we will choose a random subscriber and bring you on, and you can pick the ride as long as it's not one we've already done. And you could be our guest, and we'll have good conversations like this. And as Marco attests, it's a fun time for him. So it should be a fun time for you guys. So just subscribe anyway. It's free, totally free.
As Heyman says,
it's totally free. And then be sure to like, share this with your friends and family, and comment below. Let us know what we can do. What rides you want to see us cover and comment on. And again, thank you for joining us. And I guess that's it. So see you later.
See ya.
Bye.